paper reports that two of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year.
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Nick Bryant podcast. On my first Franklin-related trip to Nebraska, I was grappling with a number of questions. I was having a very difficult time believing that my federal government would aid and abet child trafficking and molestation. Plus, I'd always looked upon Boys Town, the iconic orphanage on the outskirts of Omaha, as a utopia for troubled youth. So the thought of Boys Town students being sexually trafficked by Lawrence E. King was heartbreaking. My first recorded interview was with 88-year-old Monsignor Robert Hupp, who had been the director of Boys Town from 1973 to 1984. The 88-year-old Hupp had just moved from Omaha to Necedah, Wisconsin. In an unaired documentary, Conspiracy of Silence, Hupp was evasive and vague, but when I interviewed him, he made a number of truly scandalous accusations about Boys Town. I asked Hupp about King's association with Boys Town. He said that after he had left Boys Town, he had heard a staff member was allegedly taking kids off the campus to a restaurant owned by King. But he confessed that he wasn't fully able to explore the rumors because, according to Hupp, his successor, Father Valentine Peter, ordered the Boys Town Police Department to arrest Hupp if he were ever seen on campus, which prompted him to discuss the matter with Omaha's Archbishop. Hupp said that the Archbishop ordered him to walk away from Boys Town and not look back. He also told me that he didn't trust Father Peter or the Archbishop. Hupp's accusations were the first crack in my preconceived notion of Boys Town as a utopia for troubled youth. After you listen to my interview with Father Hupp, it might surprise you to know that in an Omaha World Herald article published on August 23, 2003, Father Hupp declared that he and Father Peter had quote-unquote ironed everything out. Given my interview with Hupp earlier in the year, I was extremely surprised by his mollifying statements. 2 days after the article appeared, Hupp died, reportedly of a viral infection. Lawrence King plundered Boys Town throughout the 1980s. I personally believe that Father Hupp was a drunk and the titular director of Boys Town. I don't think he was aware of King's activities. However, state grand jury exhibits definitely contradict Hupp's statements to me regarding Boys Town's financial relationship with Lawrence King. But again, I believe that these financial machinations were done behind Hupp's back. But I don't think that is the case with his successor, Father Peter. Nikolai Kamen is one of the Boys Town students who alleges he was trafficked by King. Kamen said that he started attending Boys Town in 1985 when he was 11 years old. He maintained that King started to traffic him during his first year at Boys Town. After a weekend of particularly sadistic treatment in 1988, he told his family teachers that he could no longer take traveling with King and to be used as a child prostitute. He told me that the next day he was put on a plane and flown to Atlanta and deposited in a psychiatric institution. I couldn't find Nikolai in a 1986 Boys Town yearbook, and I called him on it, but he stuck to his guns. Finally, I cultivated a relationship with two people in federal law enforcement. They told me Kamen initially attended Boys Town in 1985, and that on March 30th, 1988, he was abruptly flown to the Georgia Regional Hospital. He spent approximately 22 months being hospitalized in Georgia. I know of two other boys who were molested at Boys Town during Peter's reign, and they were also deposited in psychiatric hospitals shortly thereafter. It's true that being molested can be traumatic for a child, but putting them in a psychiatric hospital is also a great way to negate their credibility. Fred Carter is the second interview you will hear. Every year, the students at Boys Town elect a mayor from the student body. In 1983, Fred was elected the mayor of Boys Town. Carter told me of truly horrific things that were happening at Boys Town. He told me that Lawrence King definitely plundered Boys Town for underage victims, but he said he wasn't aware of King flying Boys Town students around the country. However, in a subsequent interview, a former Boys Town student told me that Carter had conscripted him to fly with King. I left a number of voicemails for Carter so he could explain himself, but he never returned my calls. In the Nazi death camps, Sonderkommandos were Jews that helped the Germans eradicate their fellow Jews. Fred Carter was a Sonderkommando. How many souls of Boys Town students did he enable King et al. To destroy? The sealed grand jury exhibits and testimony and a blog that support this podcast will be posted behind my Patreon paywall.
You had said that Larry King was, or that this couple, I forgot, could you say their names again? John and Cynthia Budsdale. And they were taking these kids to a restaurant, Cafe Carnival, that was owned by Larry King. Yeah, I found that out after I left. See, I didn't know about what was happening with every cottage, every single cottage. If anything was askew there, they were supposed to report to me, but that was never reported to me until after I'd gone. Then I heard about it. And how are these? And then rumors got back to you from some of the other kids in the place. They all knew about it. But I don't remember the details. They just said, well, John and Cynthia were taking their kids down to the carnival all the time, and they couldn't understand where they got the money to do it, and how they could feed them down there, because they figured that's what they were going down there for. And how long would the kids be gone, do you know? No, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. No way to know. And when did you first learn about Larry King? Well, I learned about him when I was still there at Boys Town, when they invited me down to a luncheon, and they wanted me to become a member of the board of directors. And well, I didn't know anything about it at that time. I just figured it was another bank that was having up in the north side of Omaha, and that they wanted me to invest some money there. And I thought, well, I'm always helping these black guys one way or another. I said, when I go home, I'll talk to my finance man and see if we can maybe put a little money there just for just as kind of a token to help these people with their new bank. And so I got home and I said to Eddie Hewitt, my finance man, I said something about it, and he was a little hesitant about it, and finally he said, well, he said, we'll put a little something in there and see what happens, see how it goes. And he said, I'll investigate, do some checking. And it was about a month later, he came back to me and he said, I'm going to take that money out, he said. And I said, oh, okay, whatever you say, it's up to you. Did he give you a reason why he decided to take the money out? No, he didn't. He just said he was going to take it out. He didn't think it was a safe investment. Because he was pretty sharp on that stuff. Okay, now these kids that got back to you, these alumni, what kind of rumors did you hear? I just heard they were going out to the carnival and they couldn't understand why. Couldn't understand why because they said that costs money to go over there, and they don't have that much money in their budget. You know, that was the whole thing. And I never found out anything further than that. Were there any rumors of pedophilia? Not at that time, no. No, I didn't hear any at that time. Had I heard of any, I'd have been jumping on it. I was busy wrapping up things to get out of there because I was told to retire, to get out of there. And who told you to retire? Father Peter did. Father Peter and the bishop. And you see, when I went down to see the bishop, I said to the bishop, I said, I don't understand this whole thing. I said, I don't figure this out at all. I said, what's going on here? Why do I have to get out of there? I said, I'm feeling fine. Everything's going pedophilia at Boys Town? Well, I don't know how long it was. That's kind of far away right now. I just didn't hear anything different than that. But I didn't hear any specifics. I couldn't give you any names because it was just the rumors going on all the time. And then, of course, I say, well, that's probably the reason they don't want me around there. That was all I could do. I had to go, but I was busy. I was working my butt off there were you like? Well, I was told by the bishop to keep my nose out of that. Really? Keep my nose out of that, because it was none of my business anymore. Says that when a fellow leaves a job, he usually leaves it alone and leaves it up to the new guy and forgets about it. So you voiced your concerns about pedophilia to the bishop? Well, I just said to him, there's something's going on out there. I don't know what it is. But then it got to the point where I didn't trust the bishop either. So. Okay. There's a big, there's a great homosexual conspiracy going on around that whole town. And I figured that the bishop was in on it, and so was Father Peter. And do you think that the bishop and Father Peter were homosexuals? I don't want to be quoted on that. Yeah, okay. But I do, yes, I do. And that they played ball with Larry King for financial reward? I think so, yeah. Okay. I don't know any more than that. Don't quote me on that either. Okay. I won't quote you on that. So, when you voiced your concerns about pedophilia to the bishop, he just told you to let it go? Yeah, because, see, I was, I had been in a parish in Omaha, and I had a pastor there who was, not a pastor, one of the assistant priests, was a pedophile, and I reported him back in 1973. And I don't remember, I was only there at that parish for two months after they sent this pedophile out to me, and I reported him in 2 months. I reported him twice. And I said, well, we'll take care of that. No, don't worry about that. You got work to do out there, boys. Forget about it, he said. The bishop told you that? Yeah, oh yeah. And is he still the bishop? No, he died. And the new bishop was just about the same, of the same ilk. I couldn't tell him anything. I didn't have any right to tell him anything then. It wasn't until ABC came out to talk to me, and I was on the air about that the new bishop called me and wanted to know, how come you're talking to ABC? What's going on here? And I says, don't worry about it. I said, they called me. I didn't call them. And that kind of slowed him down then. But he's got no use for me either. None whatsoever. That's why I'm up here. God bless you. So, with the connection between Boys Town and Larry King, did you know that there was that there were pedophiles cultivating relationships with Boys Town at any point? No, I didn't know that. I heard about that all after I left there. Okay. If I had known about it when I was there, I'd have been jumping on it. Okay. But I didn't know a thing about it. Now, who can you remember or how it was told to you that? No, I don't remember. It was. But a number of sources came to you and told you that? Yeah, just in conversations we'd be talking. I'd be talking with a number of the fellas, and I couldn't say who said it, but there's something going on there. And they'd say, we heard this, or we heard that, or there's something going on. That was all rumors. I'd never heard any more of that. But I could see where it was possible, and that's why I didn't, with the way things were shaping up there, I didn't like that at all. And I thought, well, anything could be going on there as far as I know. I don't know. I was told to mind my own business and stay out of there. I did. Now the rumors concerning, were there concrete rumors that there was pedophilia going on there, or well, they didn't call it pedophilia at all. We didn't know what that word was in those days.
I'm interviewing Fred Carter, former mayor of Boys Town, elected when he was a student. He graduated in the class of '83.
From what I understand and the way Father Hub used to, when I would take certain issues to him, nothing along molestation, but when I was mayor, when I would take certain issues to him and certain things for us to achieve, I knew he was not the one. He was more of a fund allocator, and that pretty much was pretty much it. He had a lot to do with the development of the new surrogate family home and all that type of stuff, but Dr. Phillips was where it stopped, pretty much. If it didn't go past, if Dr. Phillips did not want it to get to Father Hub, it didn't go no further, and you better not have taken it no further. So Father Hub was really, I'm not saying he was a figurehead, but he was a fund allocator. Most of the time in his office, he would be signing off on checks and so forth. And that's pretty, that's pretty much where it, and went around trying to raise funds for Boys Town. That's pretty much what he was about. Father Peters came in, he was a micromanager.
Now, this thing with Larry King, did you know that Larry King was taking boys out of Boys Town?
Oh, yeah, I don't think, there was really nobody out there that didn't.
That didn't know that?
Yeah, that didn't know that.
And did you know that he was like flying these kids around?
I'm not sure about the flying. The majority of the ones that I knew that went and made their little money was out in that little ritzy area called Regency. And they would meet in the malls, and there were a lot of, well, in some cases females, but a lot of older gentlemen. And
so these were Boys Town kids.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them were Boys Town kids, and some of them were kids from the city.
And so, and Larry King would bring them together? Is that how it worked?
Basically how it worked.
And then they would go to parties, right?
They would go to parties, they would go dinners, whatever the situation of the individual was hosting or whatever that person was doing. And there were instances where kids would sit there, and when the family teacher would say, you haven't done what you were supposed to do this week, you get no allowance. And to some of the kids, it didn't mean nothing because they knew they could go and make a few dollars doing other things.
Basically prostitution.
Basically, yes. And that's why a lot of the family teachers lost control over certain kids because, there was nothing for them to hold over their head about not getting money or privileges. And that was one of the things that Father Kelly was very instrumental in doing, was getting the family teachers to give certain kids certain privileges, whether they earned it or not.
So they could get off campus.
Right.
So Kelly was involved with King.
Oh,
do you think?
I can't see how he wasn't.
Now, Val Peter must have known that this was going on.
I have no doubt that he knew. I have no doubt that he knew what was going on in a lot of the homes out there. It would surprise me if he didn't.
Now, like the Barksdales, were they just completely corrupt, or what? I mean, they seem to have been in collusion with King too.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. But at the same time, I didn't know that John and Cynthia was really, for most part, they was, outer appearance anyway, they was pretty upstanding people. And I think they kept, if they were doing something like that, that probably happened after my stay there, because for most parts, they were pretty strict. And I don't know what path they led afterwards. But for most parts, they were pretty strict, and if they did allow something like that, I don't know.
This getting back to King, I mean, how many kids do you think that King plundered from Boys Town while you were there?
He knows quite a bit, quite a few.
I mean, that's
Have you interviewed him?
Larry King?
Yeah.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Is
he in jail?
No, he was in jail for embezzlement, but now he lives in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And were you ever part of that? The King thing?
No.
No?
No. But there were certain kids that were, because they had that look, they had that marketability. I was always a heavy kid, and so I wasn't really that along those lines. But you had quite a few kids out there that were. So
these kids that went with King, let's say they lost privileges. I mean, how would Father Kelly would ensure that they would get those privileges back?
Yeah, in some cases he would. You know, all it's taking any of them houses is the father to call and say that they want to see or they want to such and such. I've counseled such and such, and I think maybe your punishment is a little harsh, and let's give them another try. You know, and when the family teachers are not going to deny the priests and the ministers out there pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they call and put in a good word for you. You can pretty much bet that you're out of whatever you had got into at home.
Now, when you talk about these rapes, rapes and molestations, were those at the hands of Father Kelly, or were they at the hands of other people?
It's a combination of both. I know of several young kids that were real young at the time because he couldn't really overpower too many of the older teenagers if they didn't want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But he had an ability to overpower them with threats.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he wielded a lot of authority around there.
And these other kids?
Some of the real young kids, it was at the hands of staff.
Mm-hmm.
and at the hands of other kids.
Mm-hmm.
You have a feminine type persona about yourself. You were usually abused, and in some cases by, the jocks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you gave that weakness,
mm-hmm.
those are the ones in which they preyed on.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, just really the staff. In some cases, it was a lot of the students there too.
Now, this thing with King, I mean, did you ever see him on Boys Town campus?
Did I ever see him?
Larry King on the Boys Town campus?
Not really.
No?
Not really. I know a lot of activities that were done in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You get your privileges and you know where to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did it get back to you that these kids were going with King?
I knew certain kids that were into,
Mm-hmm.
because they were young and it was just all about money. When you have kids that because of where we live, we didn't have any need for really money.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you had kids that were, have actually getting the opportunity to hold money.
Mm-hmm.
Because we really had everything was there. We really had no need for money there.
Mm-hmm. But King would entice these kids with money.
Oh, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way they all did it.
Mm-hmm.
For privileges.
And then they would go to parties, and then they would perform like these sexual acts and then they would get paid a certain amount of money.
Paid a certain amount, and I could imagine probably down as the years passed, it probably got worse than it was then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, it seemed like this generation seems to be a little more, I don't know if you would say money oriented or.
Yeah. Now, with Val Peter, I mean, what gives you an idea of how he knew this stuff, how he could have known this stuff?
Well, the only thing that I'll say about that is that he could not have.
Mm-hmm. It was just so rampant?
It was so rampant, and certain kids went to the administration with certain complaints, and there's no way with his micromanagement style that he could not have known. It would shock me. It would just shock me.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I say that because the man is a micromanager. He knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He was not like Father Hupp, who very rarely... Father Hupp would make trips to your home and so forth. Father Peters would actually do the evaluations of your home.
Mm-hmm.
When it came time for the family teachers to be recertified and for the home to be recertified, he was hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people didn't like it because they weren't used to the top man
mm-hmm.
coming in there.
Because
he could maybe I don't know how that administration, but with his style of when he came in, the way he shook up the place and changed quite a few things, it would just surprise me that if he didn't know. I have a couple people's names that I'm going to find and come up with, and maybe you can find these people where they are, because these are the people that really would benefit, because they were truly harmed at that point. And I've often, thought about certain ones because, when you wonder how they're doing. I know certain things that happened to me, and I know how it affected me, but I had a support group, and I just tried to put it aside, and move on, because if you don't, it will destroy you.
And with getting back to Larry King for a second, did kids talk, because you were the mayor of Boys Town at that point, did kids talk to you that what was going on with Larry King?
And not necessarily him. Other kids have mentioned certain things on other people on campus. See, you have to realize a lot of the kids that were participating in this Larry King situation, it would surprise me if they would say anything against him to this day. They may, but because I don't know what has changed in their life. But back then, they would never have, because these were kind of like the tough kids, and they tend not, they knew what they wanted and what they wanted to do. And I could not say that he forced. I understand that as an adult and as children, he was still in the wrong. But,
but he basically paid them.
Basically, yes.
And that was sufficient.
And that was sufficient enough for a lot of them, because that was kind of the tougher crowd. They didn't care about the rules and what Boys Town was trying to do and so forth. Well, I should say what their individual family teachers were trying to do. They didn't care about that. Those were the types that were pretty much bucked the system every chance they got. And those are the type of people that he capitalized on.
How did he prey upon them? How did he make contact with them? Was there was there some Boys Town kids that recruited for him?
That knew, yeah. Some of the older ones, some of them knew. Some of them knew who to take. Some of them knew how to. See, it was a catch-22 with me in a lot of the situations there. Though I was molested myself there. It was a situation where things would hush up a little bit when I come into the picture. I had certain people that would come back and tell me certain things, and that's how I became mayor, because I had a very loyal group of other kids that were very loyal and helped me along the way in that. But then I would have those that would shh, because they didn't know which way I stood, and they felt that I would go back and probably tell.
Blow the whistle
To the administration or to my immediate supervisor as mayor. And so, I had that situation, but then I had the other group that knew and that would say certain things. I was not aware of them flying anywhere, but I was always aware, as it was not a secret that so many kids met out at the mall and in Regency.
What's Regency?
Regency is that little suburb next to Boys Town, very exclusive. And where the people, at the time had deep pockets, and the kids tried to make money.
But you're aware of people going to the administration?
Oh yeah, it's not necessarily on King, but I mean, they had complaints. They know they've had complaints probably every week on rape and molestation. They know that. It wasn't uncommon, to be honest.
And are you aware of? Did Father Kelly molest you?
Yeah, Yeah.
It's what's killing me about this whole thing is all these kids have been molested, all of them, and they've been able to cover it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a big organization.
It's killing me, Fred.
It's a big organization.
All these kids have been so damaged.
I know, and it's a big organization, and there's a lot of things there. There were family teachers. When a kid would fuck up, excuse the expression, and the administration would find out, and the hammer would come down on some of the family teachers. They turned blind eye to what the tougher kids in the house would do to them. Because they didn't brought the heat from the administration down on them. So, you were pretty much, excuse the expression, ass out because, they're going to let them kids that wanted to prey on you probably anyway go ahead and do what they were going to do and turn blind eyes to it. Because you didn't brought the heat down on them. And a lot of that went on.
Just trying to, flesh this whole thing out.
Okay.
And,
down the line, I have some information, and if I find particular documentations on certain things when I was mayor that I kept, and I don't know why I kept some of this stuff all these years. I need to find a couple of the other guys and then let you try to get a hold of them. I don't care if you tell them that, I'm the one that gave you their names.
Okay.
But I can almost bet you that these people are probably, I don't know how they could rebound from some of the things that happened to them because some of them, it was just a daily thing.
Wow.
I mean, it was just a daily thing. I mean, it was... And everybody knows about it. And they try, even from the athletic directors, if you subpoena and so forth, certain athletic directors, they know what was going on. A lot of those people did. But they turned,
They turned a blind eye.
Turned a blind eye to it. And they knew what was going on. See, what I'm trying to ascertain right now, I work for a Fortune 500 company. And I don't know if I would survive there with something like this being in the media and my name all over the media. And, I worked hard to get into this company and to obtain the position that I'm in this company. And, that's, you worked on it a year, and that's the reason I was a little evasive towards you. Because, I've only had a week or two to think about this. So...
No, I understand.
And this has a potential to, it really has a potential to be a problem for me with whom I work for. And I don't know how my immediate superiors would handle that. And I have 2 homes, several cars, and a very large mortgage. And I'm just not in the position to lose this at this time. I've worked too hard for it.
I fully understand that, and I'll talk to the editors, but I could really use you on record, or else just as a source.
Okay.
A former Boys Town.
I'm trying to fill out my immediate people and see where their minds are along these lines. And and I've been filling them out a little bit lately to see, and.
But for you to help expose this, I don't really see how that could implicate you negatively. I mean,
yeah, it could. Yes, it could. It very much could.
I mean, from my perspective, you'd be doing, a very incredibly courageous thing.
I agree, but at the same time, I have come accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and I'm just too old to throw it to the wind right now, because I have worked hard, and I'm in the process of there's certain promotions and things that's coming up, and I'm just not willing to. I'm filling them out, and if this main man can give me some kind of sign through my offhanded comments to him that he can understand and can support the backlash from something like this. Hey, I'll help you in any way possible. I will have no problem with that.
Okay.
I'll have no problem with that. But I'm not trying to lose my livelihood right now because I would wind up like David.
I don't think that would ever happen personally. But
I would like to think not. I would like to think not.
But
I'd like to think not.
The thing about it is, and like I've told you, I think a number of times at this point, this organization is responsible for 37,000 children.
Exactly.
I mean, and something, something has to be done. Unfortunately, this job seems to have fallen on my lap to do this. And,
yes. And I can imagine.
And I certainly, I'm at the point where, I'm very close. I just need, I need someone like you because, a lot of these kids that I've got on record have really disintegrated.
Right.
I mean, you superimpose, a bad childhood, molestation, and drugs, and you end up with a pretty much a destroyed human being.
Right. No, you're right.
And
I hate to hear that about David. I really do. You know, because, you know.
I'm trying to help David. I
really hate to hear that about him.
But
understand where.
But the Francis house is filled with Boys Town kids.
Is it really?
Yeah.